This video is about the call to activate the inner fire. If transformation, spiritual transformation, awakening, realization, deepening is what we really want. If it's what we really long for, not just on a superficial level, but deeper and deeper and deeper, the very longing of us, then we have to activate the fire of transformation. Life incessantly, forever, throws challenges at us. Some of them like this, some of them like that, some of them less so, some of them huge. But how we meet those challenges defines us in many ways. And actually, it's very common to fall victim of those challenges and somehow allow life to crumple us, beat us down, dominate, suppress, as if in many ways kill the essence of us, or let's call it the life force. Yeah, we each have a life force, we each have a fire that we may call life force. We're born with it, and it remains, it's there all the time. But the weight of the world and the weight of experience and how we interpret our experience and the stories we tell ourselves and the unresolved emotional stuff that we carry from before, from childhood, occludes that and suppresses and sits on our life force. And so we sort of, there's a small smouldering of a fire, a deepest kind of, a longing or a wishing or a wanting some kind of freedom, because you can see through the dark clouds of that suppression, the dark clouds of our stuff, the dark cloud of thought, the dark cloud of the weight of the world, the dark cloud of the gravitational force, the dark cloud of, as it were, the covering of us, like around the earth, and yet we can sometimes peer through that darkness, that cloud, and see the stars and see the magnificence of the stars, and in that seeing we see our own true nature, and we see our own freedom, and we see it clearly. But then back again into the mess of the everyday and the weight of the everyday problems that we meet, that come at us. Problems from the inside, problems from the outside. But my friend, the problems are always going to be there. The issues, the stuff, the reasons to stay small, the reasons to stay victim are always there, are always going to be there. And just sometimes, we have to remember, with that fire within us, our life force itself, because it's going to take the activation of that life force to break through the dark clouds and the veils, and through Earth's, our own gravitational field into the stars of our true nature. The metaphor is quite useful, but it takes energy, and it takes power, and it takes guts. It takes sheer guts to keep on going, to say, I will not be defined by the things around me. I will not be defined by the issues that I'm having. I will not be pushed into a box of my own victim identity. There's something more. My existence is valuable. My existence is good. And I long for a freedom beyond the box that I found myself trapped in, because we're trapped in boxes. Let's face it, we're trapped in boxes. But the true human being is not meant to live in a box. We're not meant to live in a box. We're meant to connect with our magnificent star nature to whatever degree. And it takes fire, and it takes power. And it also, of course, takes surrender. Knowing when to surrender. This is not ego talk. We're not talking about the fire of the ego because I want it and I know what I want and I think it's, good for me, or, that kind of superficial egoic level. We're not talking about that. If you think I'm talking about that, you really misunderstood what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a deep belly soul longing, that has a fire in it, almost a will, a deeper will than the superficial will. It's that fire that burns our karma. It's that fire that says, I will do this. I will go through this. I will put myself in that situation and see what happens. Nobody knows the outcome of anything. It's not about that. It's not about making contracts. It's about activating the inner fire. Let me tell you, I don't know whether you know, but many years ago, I was ill, very ill. I had 15 years of inflammatory bowel disease, which was, a nightmare. Hold on. A veritable nightmare of symptoms and weakness and immunological problems. And, I was all, a day, I had to be near a toilet all the time. I was very weak. Anyway, at this time, it was 2008 or something. I had planned to go to a men's program, a long weekend, which was going to be wild. It was I can't talk about it too much because it's kind of secret, but it was the Mankind Project who in England, who I decided to go and take part in a transformational weekend, a warriors weekend. Well, my body, the whole of my being was inflamed, and I was in quite a lot of distress and feeling very weak. And I thought, I can't really go. I just can't go to it. Because, how am I going to cope? How am I going to deal with it emotionally, physically, energetically and everything like that? And then, I was going to cancel. And then I just thought, and I said to myself, and there was a voice within that said, just go, whatever, deal with it. It's not the end of the world. And even if it is, deal with it. Take it with you. Don't try and pretend you're okay. Take your woundedness with you. Tell them, share it, be it, live it. Take that fire of desire to be there with you. And I did. And I went. And it was pretty difficult. And then in that weekend, a specific thing happened. A particular ceremony, a particular thing happened. And it was so powerful, it changed my life forever. I dealt with something. I discovered something within myself. It brought out a sort of man in me. And I was on my knees and I cried and I was raged and it brought something out of me. And if I hadn't have made a deep, deep decision that I was going to go for it, I was just going to go regardless, and I was going to take myself and my vulnerability and my issues with me, and I wasn't going to try and, leave them where they were at that stage, then I would never have had that experience, and that experience changed the course of my life in such a profound way. I can never be, overly grateful, too grateful to that experience. And so what I'm saying is it's different for everybody, but there's a fire. There's a fire of yes. There is a fire of will. This is not ego will. There is a fire of will that burns through the karma of the victim. And I'm not accusing anybody of being a victim. I know I've been a victim in my life. I know I've been a victim. And that victim is like you're pulling back, almost always feeling like the world is against you somehow. Everything is kind of almost conspiring against you. And I would root that out. I would advise rooting that out as much as possible, because we're not victims. Nobody here is a victim. Things happen. Stuff happens. Life is myriad number of experiences. Life can be cruel. Yes, life can be cruel, very cruel. But that doesn't make you a victim. It doesn't make me a victim. And in order to get beyond the victim, to get out of the earth's, your own gravitational pull of that stuff that suppresses your life force, you need fire. You need fire. You need to activate that fire. That fire is for good purpose, and it takes that fire to burn through by and by. And that fire is not a one-off fire. A fire is alive. That fire is alive. And still to this day, whenever I feel like, oh, the world, man, the world is crazy, the world is crushing me, the world is, what am I going to do? Or something comes in, some seemingly terrible thing. You feel it, of course. This is not about not feeling it. You feel the full weight of it. Feel the full, but no stories about it. You just feel it to the depth of you. And then, by and by, the fire rises. What will I do? Who am I? What do I stand for? What do I want more than anything? Who am I more than anyone? What is this deepest that I seek? There's like a real call. Life calls us. It suppresses us. It beats us. So we can rise up in some way, in shape or form. And this is, as I say again, this is not a call to the ego self. There's nothing to do with that. This is a far step away from that. This is a much more vulnerable, tender, true, authentic place than that. This is the naturalness of us, rising up into our God-given right. Not by a God out there, not by any religion, but innate authority rising up, saying, I will overcome. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear nothing. Because I am the light. It's the light. That transformation, that inner fire, that's the light of us. It's the light of being that longs to shine out from us over and over and over and over. Activate that light. Activate that light. Turn towards that light.